Oh, I hope everybody can hear me okay. Whoops, got to turn that down. We don't need a lot of echo, do we? Hey, I thought I'd go on live today at 12:30 Central Standard Time. I thought I'd talk a little bit about, one of the things I wanted to talk about is benefactors, a little bit of what we expect for financial returns when there's a gift of money or products. It can cause a lot of problems. On the other hand, it can solve a lot of problems. So, the old adage, don't look a gift horse in the mouth, and the adage of beware of strangers with gifts. They all add up, and it's a matter of perspective, how we look at those things. And, of course, need makes a difference in how we react on both of them. So I thought, well, why not get it out there? And most of you know that because I don't have a GoFundMe or anything like that. I don't monetize my channel. And so my perspective obviously is my opinion and the fact that I don't benefit from having this channel. And so financial returns don't sway how I feel about gifts of any kind. And the fact that I've been retired quite a few years. And in fact, I enjoy being retired. And even though for most of you out there, I am considered very elder. And mentally, I don't feel quite that way, although obviously I'm not the same person I was when I was 60. And by the way, I am 80. Actually, I'm getting about as close to 81 as I was 80, so I'm right in between there. And my wife is a year and a half younger than I am, and we both are showing our age. Matter of fact, for the next 10 days or so, you won't see me hardly at all on here. My wife has to have some surgery done tomorrow, and it's outpatient type surgery. She'll be under for part of the day. I guess it's a fairly long operation, but I'll be able to take her home. And I'm going to be the chief cook, bottle washer, and caretaker. We have both had to take that role over the years, because when one's been down, the other's been up, and we've been able to take care of each other without bringing a lot of outside help in. I did have to use outside help for a while when there was an operation my wife underwent that was very intricate and required over a week in the hospital under 24-hour care. And then when I brought her out, one of my daughters came and stayed for quite a while, or actually both my daughters were here. And then as things progressed, I was able to take care of it. And my wife at that time had a feeding tube in when I brought her home, and so she required quite a bit of care. And I can tell you, it keeps a person busy. I was having to address the feeding tubes in one way or the other at least about between hour and 2 hours. So I had a little timer set, and every time I went through one thing, I'd mark it off on this little sheet, reset the timer for the next go-around. And it had to do with painkillers, food, water, antibiotics, you name it. Everything went through that tube, and I spent a lot of time in the sink, keeping everything sanitized. It was quite a process, and I learned a lot. And one of my daughters is a nursing assistant, and so she kind of taught me the ins and outs, and I haven't had to use that since. Now on this one, it's not anywhere near as serious, but it's going to require some quite a bit of care over the next at least 10 days. and maybe a little longer. So I wanted to let you know, no, I'm not going to be off from here because of threats or anything else. And yes, I understand a lot of threats are out there, and you know the hounds are after me. But don't worry, I've got plenty to keep me busy. But I'm not worried about other people at this point, other than taking care of my wife. And when that's done, I'll be back on here like a bear. So bear with me, and we'll be okay. On the live today, what I'm talking about, the benefactors and the pros and cons, and give you my opinion on a lot of that. And you know, there's big reasons for people to accept or reject. And I know that most people are going to say never reject, because you can control. And once you have it in your hand, it cannot be rescinded. And there is a lot to do with that. But it's also, part of it is, if a string is attached to something, then it goes without saying you need to follow through on that part. If there's no strings, then there is no strings, and no reason to do anything other than to take the funding and do as you wish. Those are things that have to be considered. Now, a lot of people, they assume things, and I've been getting hit daily, and it has picked up the pace. And part of it is because one of the parties out there seems to be more like, almost like a excuse my termination, or my how I feel about it, but it's almost like a vicious dog. And my opinion, obviously, is what I'm given at this point, that once triggered, just can't let up. And sometimes with a vicious dog, all you can do is keep them at arm's length and let them bark it out. And when they're all done and get tired, you kick them to the curb and let them go home. Okay? That's the easy way to handle it. So, or you can do like Get Swamped out there, Robbie does. He jumps on the back of the alligator, tapes his mouth shut, pulls the legs back so they can't get him, tape him up, throws him in a GI bag, takes him out to the swamp, cuts everything loose, turns him loose in the swamp. And you could do that too, okay? So, and yeah, I'm laughing about it, but I get a kick out of Robbie because of, I like his channel. And sometimes what you might have to do with that alligator, you might have to do with the people that bother you. You just kick them to the curb like I do with a vicious dog when they're tired of ranting and raving. Or you can do like Robbie, you can put them back in their environment, which the environment for the alligator is the swamp. And that's what I'm talking about, and not doing away with somebody or anything even remotely thought about that. I realize that people like to take one sentence or one word and utilize it, and they say, did you know what he said, or did... It's a crazy world out there. And people will do anything they can to get their point across. Be careful when you're in my live that you don't overstep. Hopefully my mods will be there and protect my back. It's hard for me to read. You know, my screen is nothing more than this computer, and even though it's a 17-inch screen, and I've got the screen about as magnified as I can. It's a little hard to keep up with that and talk on here. So usually what I do is when I get done getting my point across, then I go into the chat and I go through the chat. And meanwhile, the mods and the chat can go make their remarks, whatever they want to do. A day or two later, I'll go through the comments in there to look them over, and if there's something that need to be adjusted, I go in there and say or do something about it. So for all you, I'm going to go ahead and get off from here. This is a very short one, just an explanation of what I've got coming up. Like I say, I very seldom give any kind of a look ahead for the live, and I apologize for that. And obviously, I don't do them at the same time every week either because, well, being retired, I hate schedules, literally. I mean, the biggest thing when I retired was being able to put my phone on the shelf, put my billfold up there, walk away from it, and when I want to go do something, I do it in peace. When I come out here in the garage, I very, very seldom have my phone with me. And when I get done doing whatever I'm doing, I go back in there. I may check it, may not. The day that was my last day at the office, believe me, I loved it. It was like a big weight was lifted off my shoulders. The only time I felt any better was when I asked Christ into my life as my Savior, and that was a great moment in my life. And it did make some changes. Unfortunately, I'm not the greatest Christian. I hope I'm not the bottom of the barrel either. I try to live a decent life, and I hope all of you out there do too. If I have a prayer for you at all, it's that you be a better man or woman than I am. We all need the love of our Lord, and we couldn't exist without it. So with that, I'm going to let you go for right now. I'll see you at 12:30 Central Standard Time. It looks like today is not going to be too bad of a day out there, unless you're up in the Northeast. I noticed on the weather report, it looks like a lot of snow up there. And boy, it's been a long time since I was up at the Northeast. One of the best days I had up there was I had to go up to Seabrook up there in Maine. And along the way, I hit an open thing that had, they sold lobsters, and they had this great big metal roofed canopy out there. And I think that thing was probably, 70, 80 feet long. And they would come out and you could buy lobster. They were cheap. They were boiled. And you could eat dinner. And there's a lot of people there at that. And I don't remember exactly where it was at because I was on my way up to Seabrook, and I ate a couple of lobsters there, believe it or not. And then that night when I was up at Seabrook, we stopped at a restaurant, and they specialized in these nice lobsters. And they were like a pound and a half or something like that. And then you got all the fixes, the baked potato and salad. And I don't remember what all I had. Obviously, I had a few beers. And man, was that good. I know you folks have heard me talk about food, and it gets me going. But lobster is one of my favorite. And used to be a poor man's food years ago, long, long time ago. And now it's more for the rich man. Man, is it getting expensive. And it has been a while since I had a lobster. So if I had a good wish, it would be that I could have a nice lobster tail with a little bit of butter on it, and it had split open a little bit, fluffed up, and a nice baked potato, a little bit of a salad over here with the vinegar and oil, and who knows, maybe a little bit of Italian seasoning in it. Man, what a meal that would be today, wouldn't it? So for all of you out there, my best wishes. See you pretty soon, and hope you don't mind talking with an elderly person. All I can do is give you the benefit of what I've been through, my opinion, and whether you take it or not, well, that's up to you or on you. Learn the two. Thank you so much for listening to me. Come on back. Put your listening ears on. Let's go. And as John would say, Mr. Cook, what would you say? Ta-ta.